It's an offside trap number.
8?
Yeah, no, it's number 9.
Okay,
it's number 9. I was just kidding. It's number 9. It's match week both for Atlanta United, 9 and 10. It's weird. We got 2 games coming up. Wednesday at the Benz, we return with TFC, who are also trying to make up for time lost in MLS right now, like Atlanta United are. And then Sunday, we have Orlando City.
That's right.
So it's going to be a busy week. And we're joined by our friends up north from the vocal minority.
Kristen, Duncan, and Mark. Is that right?
Correct.
Yes. Oh my God. I got it on my phone. I didn't even look at it. That was all off the top of the dome. That's impressive.
That's a pro level.
That's right there. Yeah.
How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
We're excellent. Yeah.
It's, I mean, we got 2 days to break down. I guess we'll put this up tomorrow since, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
It's gonna have to. We got 2 days, or if you're listening to this on Tuesday, 1 day until the showdown at the Benz against one team of 2 teams, I guess 3 teams now, that Atlanta United has not beat because Cincinnati's new to the league and we drew them.
Yep.
But TFC,
a team that's had
bested us
a full 180 from last year, it seems. And a team that I hope that Atlanta may be able to learn a few things from, coming off of a championship season last year, seems to be sort of following in the footsteps of what a lot of Toronto did last year.
Guys, how do we get over the hangover?
Exactly.
That's what we want to know. The MLS Cup Championship hangover.
Suffer. It doesn't get better.
Drink more.
Yeah, beer. Beer, definitely.
Or bourbon. Do I see bourbon on that table?
Oh yeah.
He finally finished this bottle of Sazerac rye that he's been drinking for like 6 months now.
The regular listeners are going to be really disappointed to finish it on the main show.
He gets shit every week from people like, "You're still nursing that bottle?"
Oh no, Joe's in the trap, so
there
we're good. He at least saw it.
Yeah, we have a couple people tuning in live right now. So you guys lose.
I just want to say it's a little bit like trying to catch lightning in a bottle, and both teams did that for a season. Like Toronto FC had their, win everything season, and then Atlanta
win some things.
Almost everything.
Not everything.
Almost everything.
No, that's not good.
I like to
you guys made it 2 years in a row, which is saying something. I mean, you didn't win it the first year against Seattle, but you end up going to the dance 2 consecutive years, and then you have
the first decade.
Yeah. Yeah, the first 10 years, you don't want that, and you will never get that because you didn't have that. So, this is nobody saw this coming. I mean, it was a domino effect of one mess after another. The reasons changed from week to week, and I mean, they were legit, but they never seemed to get on track. Now, I don't think or feel that Atlanta has nearly the issues that Toronto started out with, and it seems yours seems a lot more recoverable than Toronto ever planned or hoped to do last season. So I've got more optimism for you guys than the shit show we saw last year.
So what do you credit the success that Toronto's been able to find this season compared to last season? Going into this year, you lose Javinko. Everyone's wondering what's going to happen going into this season with such a pivotal player no longer being in the lineup, and then coming out of the final standings last year. What do you think has led to the success, albeit pretty early on in the season, being 8-9 games into the season so far? But what do you think is really working for the team right now? What can you credit to the success so far this season?
Honestly, they're a lot more humble this year. And something we talked about with them last season a lot was the hubris that they had as a team, in terms of they just assumed that they could come back and win games. They assumed that they were the team from the year before that could dig themselves into a hole, but would be able to find a way out of it. And no matter, Greg would just line them up however he wanted, and players wouldn't commit to the attack or to the defense the same way, but they assumed that they would just be able to overwhelm things. And I think this year they were embarrassed last year, and there's enough of that core left that have been somewhat humbled. And although I wouldn't say, I think my 2 learned colleagues here would agree that we've been somewhat surprised by as many positive results. I don't think we expected that, especially given certain injuries at the moment. Duncan?
True. It's not all sunshine and
No.
rainbows and puppies and everything. We're letting in a lot of goals,
A
but
lot.
this Pozuelo guy looks good. That helps. And Josie Altidore, when he's fit, has been very good to start the season. Those two things help a lot. And not having to go to Mexico every other week has helped.
But I want to go to Mexico
Yes,
every
I
other
would like to
week.
go to Mexico every week as well. But I guess in a more sort of mundane, all right, well, we'll just concentrate on the league kind of way. That definitely helps.
I'd like to pile on that with I think that with with Javinko's departure, though we're gonna miss the goals obviously, but the role that Vasquez held, his departure was going to be a greater miss because he was kind of holding everything together attack-wise. And Pozuelo is more of a replacement for Vasquez, not Javinko, but he's distributing the ball brilliantly. He's scoring absolute screamers from nowhere, which is more than I could ever expect and more than I could ever hope. And he has been a very bright spot on a team that I think we all agree we weren't expecting them to be, shall we say, this good this early in the season.
So the next tough question that nobody ever wants to answer, especially whenever they're doing really well, do you think it's sustainable throughout the rest of this season looking forward based off of what you've seen so far? Or maybe a better question is what's the current expectation for this Toronto team based off of a very early on or small what's the word I'm looking for?
Sample size.
Sample size, yeah.
Yeah, I would expect us to be more or less where we are at the end of the season, probably somewhere between just sneaking into the playoffs to like third or fourth. We're not going to be a really great team. We're not going to be getting 69 points or anything like that again this year. But there's a lot of shit teams in the East, so you don't have to really be all that good. So yeah, we'll be fine. Get to the playoffs, and who knows what might happen. Ideally, we sign either a good defender who can contribute, or a good sort of wide player, or just somebody to improve the squad. There's definitely improvements need to be made. But yeah, generally, if we're going with more or less this squad, as long as Drew Moore and Josie Altidore stay fit, they'll be fine. If Drew Moore's not fit, we're letting in a lot of goals so far, which is a bit worrying. But aside from that, it's not bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable in expecting into the playoffs, but not like first, second. I genuinely feel third, fourth is about where they'll end up. Mostly based on all the things that Duncan just said. So
I love the optimism from these two. Not that I don't expect them to be in the playoffs, but right now I just want them to survive the next 2 months. May has a really congested schedule for them, and then Gold Cup starts, and TFC is going to lose a lot of players to the Gold Cup. And if they're not going to sign any players, Allie, I don't know who their bench is. I don't know who their backup is. I don't know what their plan B is to get through. Sorry, obviously, yes, it is Jay Chapman, all the time. So that's my concern. But yeah, they should make the playoffs this year. And if they don't, this year might be a bigger failure than last.
what's with the pessimism?
I'm making up for you two, all positive and sunshine and roses.
We're guests. Come on.
Let's face it, Chicago, New England, Cincinnati. There's a lot of shit teams in the East.
Yeah.
Atlanta United. Just kidding.
I mean,
just say it. Say what you want to say. Say
We
what
weren't
you
going
want
to
to say.
say it,
Live
but
your life.
or you forgot to say Orlando, but
Oh yeah,
I
exactly.
was gonna say, if you want to look at the barometer, if you want to do any forecasting for the East this year, I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, you look at the top right now, and the team that is hot as all get out, and that's just kind of running away, going to the top of the East right now is Philadelphia Union, a team that nobody was expecting to be banging in goals the way that they are. When I looked at that team, I was thinking, when they're winning, they're probably winning 1-0, 2-1, something like that. And to see the score lines that they're putting up and the way that they've been
It'll be interesting.
kind of dominating the past 4 or 5 games seems kind of crazy. So the East is going to be fun to watch, if nothing else.
Yeah,
So
we can't figure out the Philadelphia Union thing either.
I don't think their fan base can either. They're so hot.
Well, no one at their games, right? So
Yeah, exactly. We talked to somebody from who did we talk to from
Probably
what they were-
game?
Yeah, if, we do this segment every week with the opponents for Atlanta United, and we talked to another content provider up there, and he was talking. I think it was Kevin Kincaid that we talked to. Yeah, and talking about how lukewarm the fan base really is, because it's a front office that doesn't really spend a lot of money. They've just sort of been middle of the table and content to stay there. And with the other professional sports teams that Philly has, they've just sort of played second fiddle, and the fan base and turnout has been really indicative of that. So with them actually seeing some success on the field, I'll be interested to see what the fan base does as a result. Speaking of fan bases and results, what do you guys think as a fan base about this matchup against Atlanta? Who do you think puts Toronto in the best position to succeed this Wednesday? And who do you think is the greatest liability on the road in a short turnaround coming off of the win against Orlando this past weekend?
So, best asset, with Pozuelo, he literally is the engine. A lot of the highlights
I would agree.
that if you watch CFC highlights, everything just about goes through him. Everything is meaningful goes through him. Whether he's the guy who shoots or the guy who sets up, he's brilliant. Liability, take your pick of any 2 defenders. Just go through the roster, pick 2. It's probably them. Aside from Mavinga, who had an excellent game last game.
which means he's due for a shit show.
Due for a shit show. He's good for 1 guaranteed howler every match, so keep an eye out for that. But it just depends on who his defensive partner is. It depends on who else gets lined up, because it's been spotty at best. And I'll even give a nod to depending on which keeper it starts. We've got 2 that are kind of going flip-flop back and forth. One likes to stay on his line, and the other one doesn't. So that's also something you can keep an eye out for.
Yes.
I also think you have to keep an like Michael Bradley. When Michael Bradley has a good game, a lot of good things happen because that midfield is controlled. He doesn't have to drop back and protect the defense. So if the defenders are paying attention, and he's able to sort of control things, set Pozuelo free, set Osorio free, whatever random striker is playing up top right now. Sorry, Jordan Hamilton. I don't mean to call you random.
He is.
I like Jordan Hamilton.
We all do, but he is.
But yeah, and liability, like as Mark said, the defense, there's no Drew Moore right now. If you see Eric Zavaleta in the starting 11,
Wait.
celebrate.
Yeah, sorry.
Run,
We run,
right up.
you cheer. You just go nuts. You're going to love it.
Yeah, Alex Bono's in goal, same thing.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Hot mess all in the back.
One howler that you will, you're going to get scored at least once
Yeah.
if Bono's there.
So what are you guys thinking with all of those key figures, both pluses and minuses? What are you thinking for scoreline this weekend?
2-2 is traditional between these teams, I think.
Yes, isn't that tradition?
I think so, yeah, at this point.
I can-
It will be interesting, though. No Javinko to hammer in free kicks.
That's true.
No,
No,
Well, that's what
Huddersfield
Pozuelo does
hitters.
Well, you guys will be without Barco though, right? So
yes.
True.
How does that, that can't be.
Oh,
that
well,
can't feel that good.
there's just Tito Villalba, just little old Tito Villalba to fill in for him. I don't know what we're going to do, really.
Oh, me, oh, my. Yeah, Barco's potentially out until the 26th of June,
Yeah.
I want to say.
Yeah.
Something like that. If they finish and, win the U20 World Cup. So,
That would be way.
yeah, it'll be interesting. What is it? I can't remember.
Martinez guy, no? He's good, right? No?
Yeah, we think we've got a good lineup. It's just a matter of getting it all to click well. And as many of the Atlanta United fan base has been quick to point out, to click well against a deserving opponent. The results that Atlanta United's been able to produce over the past 2 weeks against struggling Colorado and SKC teams, I don't know are necessarily indicative of where this team falls, and against a Toronto team at home in midweek will be a good test of that. So we'll see if they can keep things clicking on offense and on defense appropriate.
I do think it's interesting that both teams had players named to the team, had 2 players named to the team of the week.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of funny. Now, admittedly, Delgado was on the bench, but still he's there. So, again, 2-2, we're still tied.
Yeah. I think it'll be a good matchup. I really do. I think Atlanta's gotten some much needed confidence. Being at home, I think there's a lot that this game could mean for Atlanta if they get a positive result. Even a draw, I think, is a positive result for this team right now, considering the shortcomings of the first few weeks of this season. Anything else, Tim?
I mean, we didn't really get that much of a score prediction other than
2-2.
2-2. Yeah, because for everybody's.
Yeah.
Straight up draw.
I will admit, in my rundown for our show, I had 2-1 to you guys, the AU guys, as we like to call you.
Yeah, 1-all.
Hey, you guys. I like that. We're gonna have to start sampling as well.
Said to you guys at all?
No, not at all. It's really great.
Your Inception, that has been our nickname for you. So
I like it.
No one's come up with the Goonies thing.
No.
Yeah. No, it's shocking. I feel ashamed now.
Yeah, I feel like we need a Goonies sequel now. Yeah.
It's okay. Goonies never say die. It's fine.
Well, I have
here's a good
for you
question.
guys.
Oh, go ahead.
What do you think of your new coach? Like, is this something that is survivable, or is he gone at the end of this season? Because we had our own Dutch coach, right? So
Oh, God.
I think from our standpoint, I think Kevin and I have been more level-headed than most whenever it comes to this. He came in on, I think it's either a 4 or 6 year contract, and he had every intention of building something from the ground up almost. And I mean, if the results, like Kevin said, you got to take with a grain of salt somewhat the results at, even though it was at Children's Mercy and the way that they got dominated. I mean, we really took it to SKC, and then the game against Colorado. You can't take too much from those, but at the same time, if we're already moving in an upward trajectory like that, I don't know. I don't think it's just survivable. I think this is foundational. I think that moving forward, as he brings more players into the team and as we kind of cash in on other guys, I think it's just going to get stronger, especially whenever he's bringing the guys up from the youth system.
It's been a really positive trajectory week in and week out, where you've seen incremental improvements starting at a foundational level early on in CONCACAF, in the way that the offense was structured and the way he was trying to possess the ball, move the ball. And now you're seeing some of the offensive power of Joseph Martinez, Pity, and Barco start to develop, and some of the chance creation follow suit with what's been happening systematically with the actual possession and approach to the game. So if things keep clicking and keep getting incrementally better, I think that this team is probably better in the long run under Frank. But again, just as much as it's too quick to throw him out and throw the baby out with the bathwater, I think it's too early to write him off for a 10-year lock with the club as well. But I am definitely interested to see where things head, and I think it's on a positive trajectory as it stands currently. Only time will tell, though.
I mean, Frank de Boer, there's the whole Ajax thing. I feel like Ajax is really fucking good, every 20 years or so.
Right.
Hang in there.
This is year 20, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Year 20 right now?
It was like mid-90s, and now they're really good. So, yeah, hang in there. Ajax, it'll work out.
Well, if you think about Frank de Boer, you think about MLS, and one of the things that MLS has really been struggling to do, aside from the Torontos and DCs of the league, is to really build and develop academy players that get brought into the fold through the homegrown system, and then go on to play at the higher levels in Europe and stuff like that. So from that standpoint, and looking at what Frank could potentially bring to this team and bring to the development of players coming up through Atlanta United 2 and stuff like that in the future, I think it's really promising, especially if you consider the fact that what he's trying to do through the tactics on the field is try to have this plug and play system that you can get youth players into, where it's sort of everybody can mix and match with the lineup, and you're not as reliant on the individuals playing the game.
Well, oddly enough, like one of the reasons Toronto FC has and it continues to grow, it continues to develop a solid academy or becoming a solid academy is because of Aaron Vinter. And
Right.
oddly enough, the assistant coach to Mr. De Boer, Bob de Klerk,
Yep.
who is TFC legend, Tex Hooper.
Yeah.
Stay safe, Tex.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that story, Bob de Klerk taking on Tex Hooper.
No.
No.
Yeah, he had a run-in with the FC Dallas mascot.
Yeah, it was delightful.
It's
Oh, good grief.
the best way to put that.
It's one of the best
So
things.
precious.
But like that was one of the things that they did when Aaron Vinter was here. Obviously, Aaron Vinter was not all that successful, at least not in MLS.
We didn't give him the 20 years or so to
Exactly,
to
but
the Ajax.
it is interesting that this is sort of where TFC's academy really started was through him. So weird little parallel there.
Yeah, I did not know that. That's really promising to hear as well. Yeah, I guess time will tell. We'll see. Time will tell who will come out on top on Wednesday. But either way, we're really glad that you guys could hang out with us. Now's the time to get all the plugs, shout outs, where the people can find you at, find out all things Toronto FC. Where can we find you at on social media or wherever podcasts can be found?
All right. So the podcast is the Vocal Minority Podcast, and you can find us on Twitter at Vocal Minority CA. And then our website's vocalminority.ca. We're on iTunes. We're on Google Play. You can get us on most podcast.
Find us in your local
Podcatcher.
grocers.
Yeah,
section.
that too. We're fresh, not frozen.
Yeah.
You can find
Or
me.
not
on
built.
the-
What is that?
oh dear. Kristen Knowles at KZ Knowles on the internet.
Duncan Fletcher at Duncan D. Fletcher on Twitter.
And you can find me, Kit Nerd Mark, on Twitter with a K, not a Q. That's an inside joke. It makes no sense, but that's what we do. Yeah. So thank you very much for having us, guys. And enjoy the game.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. And again, who's the? I'm wondering, is it Mark? Is that your profile picture, Kristen? Who is that? Who's that profile picture of from the show?
That's not from the show. I'm using my email for this call, so that would be my festive Lenin with his holiday scarf.
Festive Lenin.
Yes.
That's-
When it's time for the holidays, break out a little communism.
Yeah, there you go.
I am
Word to live by.
the communist member of this podcast, so the Red Loons and I, the guys from Minnesota, we get along really well.
Yeah, well, look no further than some of the Home Before Dark branding to get your communist fix. That's for sure. We got plenty of
Fantastic.
propaganda in very subtle ways throughout all of our graphics. So
Good to know. I like you guys more and more.
there you go. People helping people. Thank you guys so much.
No, thank you so much for having us. This has been great fun.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, and if you guys are tuning in live right now in the chat, make sure that you guys hop over. We're about to start recording our weekly show.
Thanks so much, guys.
All right, have a good
Cheers.
one. And
You too.
not so much good luck on Wednesday.
Yeah.